I'm now going to do a video on the last two bullet points, which finishes off merit and excellence in this exemplar, where we talk about the discussion of the impact on the project of if task D takes longer or there are other delays, and how that affects the project's minimum completion time, including the implications for scheduling of supervisors. Okay, so this is a model answer which should be included with your assignment and these videos. So I'm going to go through it. Now this is the same Gantt chart that I actually drew in the last video, so this is the same idea. Okay, so looking at this part here, task D would have to be delayed 3 or more weeks for the critical path to change. That's because task D has 2 weeks of float time. So if it can take 2 weeks longer, it can be delayed by 2 weeks, and it will not affect any of the other parts of the chart. But if it's delayed more than 2 weeks, it will create a new critical path, because it would mean it would delay the minimum start time. So D would be one of those things that would have to start and finish on time for the path to finish at its earliest time, and these would have float time in them. Because D we would go A, and then D, and then G, and then I. So if it takes 2 weeks, the critical path would be the same, A, E, F, G, I, but if this takes longer than 2 weeks, the new critical path would be A, D, G, I. So that's the discussion of the impact if D is delayed. So it can be delayed by 2 weeks, but it would have to be, that's fine, it won't delay the rest of the project, but if it is delayed more than 3 weeks, 3 weeks or more, then it will delay the rest of the project. Now, for the last question, you just have to talk about any tasks that take longer than expected, how that would impact the whole project's minimum completion time and its critical path. So you can pick anything with any task and delay it by an amount of time so that it would delay the entire project. So here's something that has been chosen by the person who wrote this. So there are 4 tasks that are not using the critical path. These tasks could become part of the new critical path. So that's B, C, H, and D. H has a float of 3 weeks. So that's because H could, where is it? So going back to the last one, H could start at 9 or and go to 21, or it could start at 12 and go to 24. So there's 3 weeks that we could use there. So H has a float of 3 weeks. Therefore, if task H was delayed by 3 weeks or more, it would create a new critical path, A, C, H, I. Also, task C can only be part of the critical path if task H is delayed. Task C has a float of 0. For task B to be part of the critical path, it would need to be delayed by 3 or more weeks, but only if task C is delayed. Now, ideally, you would actually name these tasks. So you would say what these are. So you would say task C, develop prospectus, task H, finalize contracts with tenants. You would actually say what they are. So you talk about it in context. I don't know why this isn't working for me. Okay. This would make the critical path BHI. The easiest way for the critical path to be affected is if task D was delayed 3 or more weeks because it has a float of 2 weeks and does not rely on any other task to be delayed. All possible paths would affect the recent critical path and extend the minimum completion time. So there's all ways that the minimum completion time can be extended, that the critical path can be changed as a result of tasks being delayed. And this would be an excellence, because you're thinking about how a project can be affected. And that's that level, excellence level thinking. That's what you would have to do as a project manager to make sure that you're maximising your money and time and your people. Thank you very much for watching. Good luck for your study, for your assignments, for your assessments, and see you next time.